Good morning, it's Monday the 24th of October and this is Tom Colley bringing you the Phoenix Blue update. Last week was somewhat dominated by the US dollar. We were looking for a potential correction on the dollar. We didn't see it. We saw a continued push long of dollar strength based on a weakening on the euro following the ECB press conference. Before we look at the charts, let's have a look at the news. Well, news from Friday was very limited. What we did see was retail sales and core CPI from Canada. Disappointing retail sales. We've had quite a lot of disappointing data. We've also had the Bank of Canada talking about the fact they're actively discussing potential further easing, and so things looking quite negative for the Canadian dollar at the moment, and that's certainly not easing that picture. Going forward today, not a lot of news. Overnight we've had the New Zealand bank holiday, so expect the Kiwi market to be, or certainly any price action through last night on Kiwi, to be on the basis of lower liquidity than normal, and apply caution as you normally would. A speech this morning which appeared overnight. This wasn't on the list last night when I looked, and I haven't yet been able to find out anything about that, but I believe the purpose of the speech was to discuss ongoing negative interest rates in the long term for economies. Bear in mind the Swiss National Bank have the lowest negative interest rate of minus 0.75% at this moment in time, and they've also recently said they have there's still scope for that figure to be reduced further. 8:30 this morning we have a speech from Bank of Canada Governor Poloz. Briefly mentioned the Canadian dollar already. Weakness in that economy. The Bank of Canada having already spoken about further easing or further rate reductions, so we'll be watching for any further clues should they come out of that. Okay, here's the US dollar, or the dollar index in this case. As I said at the outset, we were sat here last week. We saw a period of consolidation. We've been looking for this market to have a correction of some sort. It does appear a bit overextended. It's now even more overextended. This consolidation was broken out when we had the ECB press conference that took the euro lower, and obviously the euro makes 50% up of the dollar index, so we obviously saw an inverse move on this chart to that effect. We're now at what we'd identified last week as a key level. This is around 98.50. This is the area that we were really anticipating a correction from. We haven't seen it yet. We'll be watching intraday through the day to see if we can get any signal from this market in correlation with the euro and the Swissy that this market is going to correct, looking to take advantage of that to pull down to one of these two levels here at 96.20 or 97.20. If we don't get that pullback, then the next level is $100, which is really, really significant. The market is moving this way predominantly, I believe, for two reasons. One is expectation of the Fed rate rise in December, whilst every other market is considering or potentially considering further easing. So we're getting a divergence in the monetary policy there. Also, potentially Hillary Clinton has moved significantly ahead in the US election, so that would be more sort of a lower risk scenario. Potentially the dollar likes that, or the traders with the dollar like that to a greater extent. Over here on the euro, well, this is where we were before the ECB press conference. We were looking at potential reversals there. Short term, as the press conference started, we did see a bullish move to the upside, but then as the press conference went on, we just saw it play out to the downside and through Friday. Really quite strong movement there. We are potentially have a bottom here. There isn't really, well, there's a bit of a level there, but not a huge level there. So we'll be looking to trade this long only when we see price action on the dollar index and the Swissy, which are at levels and also have commitment of traders alerts at this moment in time, looking at the potential for those markets to correct. Over on the yen, US dollar JPY, we've had a consolidation through last week. We've been watching this level through here for a considerable period of time. Let's call it 104, 150. Quite simply here, we're looking for a breakout of consolidation and price to pull back to this level to the long side, or to break to the short side to this level, again to take a trade to the long side. This is the Swissy that I've already mentioned to you. We are at a key level here around 99.50. We've got a commitment of traders alert at that level, but because of the scenario with the dollar at the moment and the fundamentals, we will wait to see price action intraday. Certainly in the first instance, in conjunction with the dollar, before considering any short trades in this marketplace. We're in a couple of markets at the moment. We're short the Aussie. We took a trade at the trend line here, just stayed in with our stops here literally by a couple of pips. Price came down. This proved just to be a false breakout. We took profits off. Our stops are at break even. We've got no risk in this market, and we will look for a break of this trend line stroke this level here before looking to add into that market. The same is very true of the Kiwi. We got an entry through here. On our chart, we were on the first 1 hour pullback after the reversal at this level. We've got our stops at break even, we've got money off the table, and exactly the same as the Aussie, we'll be looking for further downside and a break of this trend line in confluence with this level through here, in order to add into that trade. Okay, this is something we've looked at before, and I've already mentioned today, Canadian dollar weakness. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about when we had this big bullish move on crude. We normally expect that to be reflected in the Canadian dollar, but weakness elsewhere and strength of the US dollar meant that rather than that price move being mimicked inversely on this chart, which would have expected to see below this trend line here, in order for that to be playing out, we saw the dollar strength play against that and weakness in the economy. We did see a bit of a bullish move through last week as the dollar consolidated, but based on Bank of Canada comments, weak data, we've now really got a particularly a weak picture on the Canadian dollar, which is to the long side here. We're looking for a close above this trend line here, and then a retest back to this trend line zone through here. Now that will be, if we get a dollar pullback at some point, that may take us back to there, but we'll also be watching crude. If we get continued a pullback and continued dollar strength, and we see crude come to the downside by a break of the neckline here of this double top, that will just exasperate the movement on the Canadian dollar and could make that a really significant movement. So when we're looking at the Canadian dollar, we're looking at two other elements. We're looking at the other side of the pair, which is the US dollar, but because of the inverse correlation with the crude oil, we also bring that into the picture. So if we can get crude and the dollar working together on the opposite side as strength versus the Canadian weakness, then obviously we have the potential for a lot bigger move there. Okay guys, that's it for today. As always, if you're interested in one of our free trading events, the next event is now November the 15th in London. You get the opportunity to trade free with two of our most experienced fund managers. You get introduced to how we analyze with both technical, fundamental, and commitment of traders. How we also build in seasonality into our trading, and how we trade with clear charts like you see us every morning here, with no lagging indicators, just relying on levels and price action, etc. If you really would like to come along here and it's really worth it, absolutely free, just pop onto the website, click the events page, that's it, the page here, click through and we can send you an invitation for that event. Alternatively, any questions to the contact page or info@phoenixblue.co.uk, or if you can't make this date and you just want to be put on a list for details of forthcoming free trading events or anything else we've got going on, please don't hesitate to contact us. Any questions whatsoever, we'd like to talk to you. We'd like to know what you think about the videos. We'd like to know what you'd like to know more about and how we can help you. Okay guys, that's it for today. We'll speak to you in the morning. Have a great day's trading. Goodbye.